Hello everyone. Welcome to the week 2 of the course titled Assessment of Student Performance. This week we will be talking about the quality of assessment. We will try to provide a framework which will help you decide the parameters that defines the quality for the assessments. So a quick recap of week 1. So in week 1, we basically tried to establish a vocabulary around assessments. So what are a few purposes of assessment? So we discussed 4 purposes of assessments that includes assessments for certification, assessments for selection, assessment that supports teaching and learning, and assessments that are conducted for accountability purposes. And after having a discussion around these 4 purposes of assessment, we discussed that what are the 3 approaches of assessment that are used in these 4 purposes of assessments. And what we found out that the assessment of learning, which is the most predominant form of the assessment, that is being used for all 4 purposes of assessment, be it selection, be it certification, be it accountability, or supporting teaching and learning. So, off learning is used for all 4 purposes of assessment. And as far as assessment for learning is concerned and assessment as learning is concerned, which focuses mostly on the formative purpose of the assessment, that is explicitly conducted for assessments that happens inside the classroom. That is assessments that are used to support teaching and learning. So, the objective of having this discussion, the objective of having a common understanding of this vocabulary, we have discussed that probably if we understand all these purposes, if we understand all these approaches, we will be in a better position to design assessments, we will be in a better position to administer assessments. Also using assessment results, if we understand the purposes. For example, if we know that assessments that happens inside the classroom to support teaching and learning, if they are criterion referenced, then we cannot report the assessment results in a norm referenced manner, which means we cannot rank order the students, we cannot compare the students. That is not the purpose of assessment that happens inside the classroom. Similarly, if I have to tell you that what is the another purpose, now that we know that all the 3 approaches of assessment should be practiced inside the classroom, which means we cannot only focus on assessment of learning. We have also seen that a paradigm shift is needed from assessment of learning to more of assessment as learning, isn't it? So these are a few concepts that we discussed, and how the understanding around these purposes and approaches will help us design, administer, plan, and use assessments better. So with this understanding, let us delve deeper into the domain of assessments, and let me try to explain that what is being planned in the unit 2 of this discussion. So in week 2, again like the first week, we have 5 units. In the first unit, we will try to unpack the meaning of quality of assessments. Okay. Then we will try to discuss about 3 quality parameters, which is on validity, reliability, and fairness of assessment in weeks 2, 3, and 4. And then we will have a dedicated discussion on the difficulty of assessments. And we will also discuss that how difficulty of assessment is interrelated to the other 3 aspects of quality, which is of validity, reliability, and fairness. So what is the objective of this unit? In the first unit, we will try to unpack the meaning of quality in assessments as per AERA standards. So we often say a question paper or a test is of good quality. What does good quality mean? When we say that a question paper is of good quality or poor quality, what are some of the aspects, what are some of the parameters we are imagining for defining the quality of an assessment tool? for defining the quality of a question paper. So, in this unit, we will try to take help of AERA standards to define quality. So, by AERA, we mean American Educational Research Association. So, this is a body, they develop standards for educational assessment. So, we will refer to this set of standards for defining quality. So, let me unpack the meaning of quality from something which we use in our day-to-day lives. So, intuitively, we understand the meaning of quality, and we keep saying that this product is of good quality or this process is of good quality. So, what is that hidden algorithm? What is that algorithm that we are using to reach to an understanding that yes, this is of good quality? And you would have seen that all of us, even though we are not so sure about the parameters, the commonly defined parameters, but all of us will actually intuitively say that yes, very confidently that this is of good quality. So what is that hidden algorithm that runs in our mind? For example, if I have to say that the chair on which I am sitting on, if it is of good quality or not, how will I know? How do I decide that this chair is of good quality? So on your screen on this, you are seeing that there can be different kinds of chairs. It can be a dining chair, it can be an office chair, it can be a chair that we use in our living room. So the meaning of quality probably changes from chair to chair, which means the meaning of quality is dependent on the purpose for which it is going to be used. So we are basically assessing that the product or the process, how well it is fit for the purpose. So if it is a dining chair, how fit it is for the purpose of sitting and having food, and how compatible it is with the dining table. If I am trying to assess the quality of a chair that is used in a living room, probably I am trying to see that how comfortable it is, right? How comfortable is the backrest? Similarly, if I'm able to, if I'm trying to see that how comfortable is an office chair, probably I'm seeing that if the wheels are free flowing or not, if the armrest is at the same height like my working table or not. So you see the parameters of defining quality actually changes or actually defined by the purpose for which it is being used. So in very simple terms, we can define quality as how well anything is fit for its intended purpose. So for this example, probably there can be some criteria for quality. For example, it can be related to comfort, it can be related to ergonomics, it can be related to durability, aesthetics or functionality. So, and again, the weightage for each of these criteria may vary from individual to individual. Probably for some individual, aesthetics is not so important as compared to say comfort, right? So it all depends on the purpose of the assessment, or it all depends on the purpose. So quality is guided by the purpose for which it is going to be used. Similarly, in the matter of education too, we have several processes and products. Those are linked to the process of the education. And each of this process and product should be of certain nature so that the broader aims of education is achieved, so that all children receive good quality education. Now, how do we decide the quality of each of these process and product? And we all understand that assessment is one crucial process in the domain of education. So, if I have to explain you what happens when the assessment is conducted. So, each course is defined by several course outcomes. So these course outcomes basically define what the student will be able to do or know at the end of the course. Okay, and then we conduct several kinds of assessment. So assessment 1, assessment 2 and assessment 3 are basically defining the variety of assessment, multiple methods of assessment. We can have a test paper, we can have a project, we can have presentation. So we are trying to use multiple assessments, multiple strategies of assessment to assess the attainment of the course outcome 1, 2 or 3. Okay, so this is just an example. Okay, now what happens? Student is taking all these assessments. Okay, and what do we get? We try to gather students' responses to these assessments. Okay, so these are students' responses. Okay, now what are we trying to do? From these responses, we are trying to understand that how far students have attained the course outcomes. Okay, so you see this particular aspect, any of these assessments 1, 2 or 3 should be of certain quality. Okay, so that whatever inferences we are gathering about the quality of students' learning are valid, are reliable or are fair or of good quality. It actually tells me how far students have learned. Now, for any of these course outcomes, there can be innumerable assessments, in fact, infinite assessments that we can design. But we don't have that kind of a liberty, right? Time is finite. And we know that to do assessments in a feasible manner, we have to rely on a certain number of assessments. So it is very important and it is very crucial that the assessments that we are going to use, all of those assessments should be of good quality. Because if the assessments are of if these are of poor quality, whatever inferences we will gather about students' understanding, even our inferences will be flawed. We will never be able to tell confidently that yes, students have attained the course outcomes, probably because the assessments that we have used had some flaw, right? Which means we have to be very, very mindful about the way we are designing, planning, administering, also using the assessment results, right? With this context in mind, that we have finite amount of time, we can assess our students through a finite number of assessments. With the understanding of this context, let us try to understand that then how do we decide that which particular question should I include in my question paper, or what kind of project should I give to my students, or what kind of presentations or seminars should I ask my students to deliver. Will that help me to understand how far students have learned? So, what helps to decide the nature of assessments? Going ahead, let me take one example. So, on your screen, you can see a question paper of engineering graphics, right? Probably this assessment was used for assessment of learning, which is for summative purpose. Okay. Now, looking into this question paper, if I give you this question paper, probably intuitively you will be able to tell me if this is of good quality or not. Okay. But what is that intuitive hidden algorithm that all of us are using, right? How can we tell if the question paper really assess what it is supposed to be? And if I have to ask you what does a question paper assess? So we know that the course is defined with the help of certain course outcomes. So basically, when I'm saying that what it is supposed to assess, which means I'm saying if the question paper is assessing the desired course outcomes or not. Similarly, what are the parameters to evaluate the quality of assessment? Okay. So you see, this is just one assessment, one question paper that was used for a written test, but you can have multiple such assessments. Okay. So, do we have similar kind of criteria for all kinds of assessment? Do we have similar kind of criteria for all purposes of assessment? That is a broader question that we will try to answer through this week's discussion. So to address all these questions, we have something called as AERA Standards. So these standards are for both educational and psychological testing. And this standards are proposed by American Education Research Association. In short, it is also called as AERA. It was founded in 1916, and the objective was to publish various best practices of assessments initially, and through those best practices the idea was that can we derive certain standards that will help educators across the world to design quality assessments. They also provide some frameworks, and these frameworks are not only applicable for educational but also psychological assessments, and these standards are jointly developed by AERA, also American Psychological Association, we call it as APA, and the National Council on Measurement in Education, which we also call as NCME. So these three bodies come together and then they try to publish some standards related to assessments. The first set of standards were published in the year 1966, and from that time those standards are periodically revised once in 10 years or sometimes once in 15 years. So the latest edition was published in 2014, and the discussion in this week will be around that edition, the 2014 edition. What is observed right from, if we want to see the trajectory from 1966 to 2014, it is very clear that the standards now focus on the fairness aspect of the assessment. That is how far the assessment is fair or inclusive for a diverse set of students. We understand that all students are unique, all students follow a very, very different kind of trajectory for learning. Okay, so what kind of assessments will work for individual students? Okay, so that is a focus of these standards. But broadly, that is a shift we are seeing, that instead of using one assessment fits all, can we have multiple strategies to address the diversity of the students? So broadly, the quality of assessment as per AERA is defined by three aspects. The first is validity. We will be focusing on validity in Unit 2 of the discussion. Then comes reliability. We will focus on Unit 3. And then the third one is fairness. And that we will capture in Unit 4. Okay. So what does validity mean? We will try to answer that if the assessment actually measure what it claims to measure. So what it claims to measure, an assessment probably claims to measure the attainment of course outcomes. So is the assessment actually assessing that? So we will try to address that question as far as validity discussion is concerned. Reliability, which is Unit 3, we will try to understand that how far our assessment results are consistent. So when we talk about validity, we are talking about accuracy of assessment results. However, when we are talking about reliability, we are talking about consistency. So precision and accuracy in case of validity, while consistency and repeatability in case of reliability. Here we will try to answer, would we get consistent results if the assessments were repeated under similar conditions? So if we conduct the assessments through different modes, if we are getting similar kind of students' responses, if we are conducting assessments in two different time, are we getting similar assessment results? So we will talk more details in our Unit 3. And as far as fairness is concerned, and we all understand that if we are seeing the trajectory of standards from 1966 to what is happening now, 2014, the focus has shifted to fairness. So this particular aspect was earlier not present, but now it is given more emphasis, because now we understand that how children learn. Okay, so if we are able to understand how children learn, probably we are in a better position to understand that what kind of assessment should be used with the understanding of children learning. So in this aspect, we will try to answer, does the assessment ensure that no group of students is advantaged or disadvantaged by its design? So we will try to understand if our assessments are inclusive in nature or not. So with this, we have summarized the quality as per the AERA standards, and I will see you in Unit 2 discussion on validity of assessments.